Hey everyone, I had a few people who had asked me how I changed the blanket color in my image. This is my final image, but the original blanket, this actually isn't a blanket, it's a piece of upholstery fabric. It's the wrong side of it, but it's kind of lays like a blanket, but it's originally green, and I just wanted to show you how I do that. There are a few different ways. But this is the image after I've color corrected it and run my preset. But this is what it looked like. This is a different image, but this is what it looked like right out of camera. It's a little bit cool because I shoot it on auto white balance. But basically, I mean, it's green like this. So this is the image after I white balanced and have a little preset. And I changed up the exposure a little, and changed the highlights and whites and blacks and whatnot. I also bring the temperature way up. I really push it because I like my newborn images to be really warm. But how I change the blanket color, if you go into Hue, Saturation, Luminance, I think it defaults to saturation. You just go to Hue, and even though this is green, it's actually really yellow. So you just go to the yellow channel and take out the yellow. And now it's brown. And there's a little bit of green in there. If you take it all the way up, you can kind of see there's some little green spots there. So I like to remove that too, and that really makes it a nice brown color. And then I also went into saturation and luminance and messed around with it a little bit just to get it just right. If you add a little bit of red, it warms it up. I didn't add quite that much red because I don't want baby to be so red. But another little trick to help with like these red, sometimes babies have these little, I can't remember what it's called, but you can see their little blood vessels under their skin. If you go into luminance and red and you just bring that up, it just makes baby skin really smooth, and it gives it that look that everybody likes. So I like to do that too. But anyway, that's how I did that in Camera Raw, and then I brought it into Photoshop and I adjusted it a little bit further. I don't like to overdo it, but that's the final image. So if you don't want to do it in Adobe Camera Raw, there's another way you can do it. So I'm just going to leave it brown and show you how, like if you had a brown blanket, I mean it would work for any color really, but if you had a brown blanket, how you would change it to another color. Just pay attention, like say you had a white blanket, you're not going to be able to make it brown without it looking weird. You have to keep it within the same tone. So if you have a darker shade of blanket, you can make it a darker shade, like blue of the same tone or whatever, green, whatever. So the way I do that is I just make a copy of the background and then press Q for quick select, and then paint over. I'm on 100% opacity and 100% flow. You paint over the area you want to change the color of. You don't have to be real particular with it because you can fix it later. So after you're done, you press Q again, and then you go to Select and Inverse. So now you have the blanket selected, and then you go to Hue, Saturation. If you're in the new Photoshop, this is how it looks. Or you can go to Image, Adjustments, Hue, Saturation. It'll be the same thing. So you just bring that up, and then if you go to Hue, you just slide it to a color you like. Blue looks kind of cool. And you can also change the saturation of it. You can make it, obviously you wouldn't want it like that because that looks weird. But you can make it like a sort of a dusty blue, or you can bring it up even more. Lightness, we'll just lighten it. I don't really like to lighten it so much. Sometimes I'll bring it down a little bit just so because you see when you lighten it, it doesn't really match the light on baby. Sometimes you can darken it just a bit to blend it. And then you can also go to the individual color channels. So you can go to yellow and you can refine it even further. It's not, obviously yellow is not going to do that much, but if I go to probably reds will do it. Yeah, if you go to reds, you can change it even more. And then once you decide, the color that you want, you just close out of there, and you have this nice adjustment layer here. So you would want to, with a soft brush, you just paint back the skin. And this can be, it can get kind of tedious, but it's not too bad. And if you make a mistake, obviously you can just switch it out and bring back the color. You would want to zoom in and, really do a good job so it's not noticeable. So that's how you do that. And then there's another way you can do it. It's basically the same thing. It's not my preferred way to do it. This way is more of a way that you would color correct an entire image, but this is how you can do this as well. So you just make a copy of the background and then go to hue and saturation. And then you can just change it. I don't like to do it this way because I like to see how the color looks with baby skin. So I like to have baby skin already masked off. That's the purpose of the last way. But if you do it that way, you can go in and just paint baby skin back in afterwards. So that's how that works. And like I said, I usually use this method for color correcting the whole image. It's not my preferred way to color correct, but sometimes it's fast. The way I usually color correct is in Image Adjustments Color Balance, which I'm on a hue saturation layer, so that's not going to show up. But Color Balance is my preferred way to color correct. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. There's probably a million other ways to do this, like anything in Photoshop, but those are the ways that I find the easiest. So I hope that helps you, and thanks for listening.